Hi yogis, it's Cassandra. Today we're doing an hour-long flow that will build up towards dancer's pose. Dancer's pose requires quite a bit of stability and balance, which is what the focus of our class will be about today. We're going to strengthen the abdominals a little bit, but really focus on building a strong foundation from the feet all the way up into the legs and lower back so that we can find balance easily once we are in dancer's pose. I'm not going to use any props for this practice, but it can be a good idea to have a strap close by if you know that your hamstrings or your lower back are a little bit tight. We're going to begin seated, either cross-legged, kneeling, or up on a block, whichever way allows you to get settled and grounded for a seated meditation. So you can rest your palms on the tops of the knees, anchor the sit bones down to the floor, lift out of the lower back by stretching through the sides of the waist, soften the shoulders away from the ears, a gentle tuck of the chin to keep the back of the neck long, and then allow the eyes to close. Tuning into your breath. Softly inhaling and exhaling through the nose. As you inhale, feel the breath travel all the way down into the low belly and then lift up into the chest. And then exhale out the chest first and then out the belly. Finding that steady pace. If you notice yourself becoming distracted, bring the awareness back on the physical sensations in your body or on the flow of your breath. We want to use our time here to get clear and focused, which will help us when we try to find our balance. Taking your last 10 deep breaths or so. Gently blink the eyes open. And we'll warm up the lower back a little bit. Stay in the seated pose and just start to trace large circles with the chest and with the shoulders. So really no right or wrong way to do this. Keep the hold on your knees and keep the breath fluid as you move. Both sit bones still down to the floor, and we can reverse the direction of the circles, going in the other way. As big or as small as feels comfortable for the waist and low back. Take one more. And we'll come all the way up and back to center, setting our way up into a variation of boat pose. So you'll need to sit with your feet in front of you, knees are bent, feet flat to the ground. Start by holding on to the backs of your thighs. Walk your feet back a little bit closer towards your hips, and because we're holding on to the thighs, we can start to lift our chest and collarbones up towards the sky. Rock your weight back onto the hips a little bit more so that you come onto the tips of the toes. Notice if you're rounding through the upper back, keep lifting nice and high, and then we're going to reach our right leg up, shin parallel to the ground. Point and reach through the toes, lift your chest up a little more, lean back, and then exhale, right leg down, inhale, left leg up. Lower belly is hugging in. You're engaging the hip flexors and engaging the lower belly. Let's set the left foot down. So if this was fairly easy for you and you want to make it a little bit more challenging, you're going to extend your arms forward instead. Same thing. As you inhale, lift the right leg off the floor, shin parallel towards the ground. And exhale to release. Inhale, left leg lifts up, reach and point through the toes. Sternum is lifting up towards the ceiling. Exhale to release. Let's lift both legs this time. So squeeze the inner thighs towards one another. Keep lifting the chest. If you need a break, just hold on to the backs of the thighs and use that to pull and lift yourself up a little higher. Steady breaths. Take another inhale. And let's set the feet back down to the floor. Bring the soles of the feet together to touch. Let your knees fall apart. We'll take our bound angle fold. As you inhale, lift the chin and the chest up. And on the exhale, hinge at the waist and fold forward. 5 slow breaths here. Just inviting the hips to open up. So dancer's pose does require quite a bit of flexibility in the hip flexors, a little bit in the quads, in the back, and in the hamstrings. Slowly roll all the way back up, inch by inch. And then use your hands to bring the knees back in towards one another and come onto all fours in your tabletop pose. On your hands and knees, fingertips are spreading nice and wide. Index and middle finger pointing towards the top of the mat. Knees are directly underneath your hips. Just cat and cow. As you inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, curl tailbone up. So feel the little back bend here. As you exhale, round your spine, tailbone points down towards the floor. Let your head be heavy. Go with the rhythm of your breath. Inhale, we lift. Exhale, we contract. About 2 more or so. Try not to bend the elbows. Feel the motion in the lower back just as much as the upper back. So we're not favoring one over the other. We'll meet back into our neutral tabletop pose. Press all the fingertips down into the floor and let's extend our right leg back and up. Keep spinning your right hip down so the knee and the toes point down. The higher up you lift your leg, the more you might be tempted to drop your belly towards the floor, but we want to keep our core really engaged. Press into both arms evenly. Take an inhale here. And as you exhale, pull your knee in towards your nose and round through the upper back. Inhale, extend it straight. And then exhale, squeeze it in. Inhale to reach. Exhale, contract. This is our last one. So inhale, extend it up. And then let's bend into that right knee. Press and kick the right heel up as much as you can. This time you can drop the belly, lift the heart. Take your back bend. And let's release, right knee down, round through the spine. Spread the shoulders nice and wide. And come back into your neutral tabletop pose. Second side. Reach your left leg up and back. Keep spinning your left thigh down so the knee and the toes point down. Firm up the belly. Inhale to lengthen. And as you exhale, pull your knee to your nose and round. 3 more. Inhale, reach through the heel. Exhale, squeeze it in. Inhale to extend. So this is your core working. Exhale, release. Last one. Inhale, reach it back. Exhale, pull it in. And now re-extend the leg back behind you. We're going to bend into that left knee. And you can drop the belly, lift the gaze, squeeze your shoulder blades behind you, engage the glutes as you lift that left heel up as high as you can. Release, pull your knee in towards your nose and set the knees down to the floor, cat pose. Take up space in the shoulder blades. Come back into your neutral tabletop pose. Let's walk our palms a couple inches past the shoulders, curl the toes under, take your first downward facing dog. Feet should be about hip width distance apart or so. If you know your low back and hamstrings are tight, you can always widen your stance and bend your knees a little bit more. Shake out the head a few times. Reaching your chest towards your thighs, pressing back to the heels. Focus on lengthening the spine more than lengthening the legs. Take one more deep breath in this downward facing dog. And we're going to walk our hands to the back of the mat for our forward fold. You might need to widen your feet here, a little wider than the hips, and bend your knees, soften the upper body forward. Maybe sway a little bit side to side. Pressing down through both feet and both legs evenly. You can lift all 10 toes off the floor, spreading the toes wide so you can lift and engage through the arches of the feet. Bend your knees a little more. Let's walk it back into our downward facing dog. Lift your tailbone up and back, press into the hips. And then inhale, let's come forward into our plank pose. You're going to drop your right knee to the floor. Roll to the inside edge of your left foot so you can lean on your right hand and extend your left arm up. So this is option 1, this modified side plank. If you'd like to go a little bit further, you're going to lean more weight into your right hand and right knee and hover the left leg off the ground. So working our balance and our stability in the pose. Extend through the heel. Keep breathing. So if balance is tricky today, you can always keep your left toes to the floor or look straight down instead of straight up. Take one more breath. And exhale, left palm comes down to the floor. Find your way back into your plank pose. Take an inhale here, reach the heart forward, and then exhale, lower down to your belly. Pointing the toes back, lifting up for 3 baby cobras. Inhale, chin, chest, and palms lift up. Squeeze your shoulder blades behind you. Exhale, release down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale to lower. Inhale, lift up. Keep the legs and feet glued to the mat. Exhale, release. You're going to bring your left forearm to the ground just so your forehead has a little bit of cushioning and you can just rest your head down. We're going to bend into the right knee. You can use your right hand to reach back and pull that heel in towards the glute. If you don't really have the reach, you can just loop a strap around your right ankle and work from there. Relax the upper body down. Just stretching the quads a little bit. Take one more full breath and carefully release the hold of that foot. Let's bring both hands underneath our shoulders, lifting up to cobra. Chin and chest come off the ground. Keep your hips exactly as they are, planted to the earth. Pull your chest forward, elbows are bent. And then exhale, melt forward and down. We meet in our downward facing dog. Pressing into the heels. Arms are nice and straight. Inhale, come forward to plank. Let's drop our left knee to the ground. Roll to the inside edge of your right foot. Lean on your left hand and extend your right arm up. So this is your modified side plank. Feel free to stay as you are. If you'd like to take it one step further and really work on balance, you're going to hover your right leg off the ground. The glute is going to engage and strengthen to lift the heel up a little bit more. Notice if you're holding your breath. Take one more inhale. And then look down to the floor, right palm down, plank pose. Feet are back, legs are nice and straight. Inhale here, and then exhale, lower to your belly. 3 baby cobras, point the toes back. Inhale, chin, chest, and palms lift up. Exhale, soften down. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift up, squeeze your shoulder blades. Exhale to lower. We'll take our quad stretch. So this time, right forearm gives padding for the forehead, and you can pull your left heel in towards your left glute. 5 breaths. Remember, you can use a strap if this is too much. Let's release the hold of that left foot. We're making our way to cobra, so bring your palms underneath the shoulders. Use back strength and arm strength to lift up. Create space in the chest. Pull your shoulders back. Press into the tops of the feet. Take one more inhale. Exhale, pull the heart forward and down as you lower, and we meet in our downward facing dog. Setting ourselves up for our first little flow in this down dog. Reach your right leg up and back. Bend the right knee and open that hip as wide as you can. Feel the glutes and the hamstrings engage to help your knee come up a little higher. Press your right shoulder down. Straighten and square your right leg and carefully come to plank pose. Tap your knee in towards your nose. Look past your palms and step that right foot forward. Lower the left knee down and take your twist. So keep the left hand where it is and reach your right arm up towards the sky. Hips are pressing forward and down. If this is enough, you're going to hold exactly as you are. Otherwise, right hand reaches towards the back of your mat. Bend into your left knee and catch a hold of that foot as you pull it in towards you. So no matter which option you've chosen, we are all in our twist. Pulling that right shoulder back to open up the chest. Start to look down towards the floor. Release the hold of your back foot, fingertips to the ground. Curl the back toes under so you can lift your left knee off the ground. Make sure your feet are hip width distance apart. Strong legs. We come up into our high lunge. In this high lunge, drop the hips a little bit more. We're going to interlace the hands and bring them towards the back of the head so your neck has a little bit of support. Taking a bit of a back bend, scoop your elbows forward so you can feel the chest lift up and move from here into a bit of a back bend. So no compression in the lower back. This is really all about your upper back and about your chest. It's important that your gaze stays steady, so focusing on one thing that is not moving. And if you lose your balance, no big deal. Take one more breath, really reach. And carefully release, bring your head and your neck back. Reach the arms up overhead, grow long. Hands come at the heart, find something to focus on. We're gonna stand on our right leg and pull the left knee in with us. So hip flexors engage in order to lift that left knee up as high as it will go. If this is enough, stay where you are. Otherwise, left leg straightens forward. Flex at that foot and reach through the heel. Lower belly hugs in. Take another breath, lift the leg up higher. And then exhale, find your warrior three. Start to extend your left leg back as you lean your chest forward. Left hip is going to spin down so the knee and the toes point down. Hug your lower belly in towards the lower back. Take any arm variation that you'd like here. Squeeze the glutes and lift the back heel up a tiny bit more. Start to look down towards the ground. Bend into your right knee generously until you can bring your palms and your back toes to the mat. Step back, down dog. Reach long through the arms. Let's take our first full vinyasa. Inhale, come forward to plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Maintaining your focus. Let's go to the other side. Please reach your left leg up and back. Bend the left knee, open that hip as wide as you can. Keep pressing your left shoulder down. Squeeze your glutes and lift the left knee up a little bit more. Straighten and square your left leg. Come forward to plank pose, knee in towards your nose. Look past your hands and step that foot through. Right knee comes down to the ground. Take your low lunge with a twist. So right palm stays exactly where it is. Left arm reaches up. Careful not to let your right shoulder pop forward. Keep drawing it back. Coming into our quad stretch. Left hand goes towards the back of the mat. Bend into your right knee and pull that heel in towards the glute. Hips are still pressing forward and down, so we're not lifting them up any higher. Staying calm through these transitions by really stretching out the breath. Let's release a hold of our back foot. Fingertips come back to the floor. Curl the back toes under. Make sure your feet are hip width distance apart. We're coming up into our high lunge. Really strong legs. Bend into the left knee so the hips can be heavy. Legs are grounded. Interlace your fingers the more unusual way, the other thumb on top, and bring your hands towards the back of your head or the back of your neck. Scoop your shoulders and your elbows forward, and from here, think of pulling and lifting up before going back into your back bend. Left knee is still bending generously, so nothing changes in the legs. Think of opening up the chest. Use your core to lift yourself back up. Release the arms and reach them straight up towards the sky. Hands at your heart. Come to stand on your left leg. Bring your right knee in with you. Lift up through the quads so the kneecap lifts. Strong foundation in your left leg. And then right leg extends forward. Pressing into that heel, toes are pointing up. Lift it up a tiny bit more. And then warrior three. Bend the right knee. Start to extend your right leg back as you lean your chest forward. Squeeze the glutes. Keep dropping that right hip down, pulling the lower belly in. Reach through your back foot. Looking down, you're going to bend your left knee until the toes come down, the palms come down. Downward facing dog. Left foot steps back next to the right. Take your flow. Inhale to plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Press and reach through the heels. 3 breaths here. Let's extend our right leg up towards the sky. Keep it straight and squared. Use the strength of your abdominals to pick that foot up and step it all the way to the top of the mat. We're coming back into our high lunge. So feet are still hip width distance apart. Arms reach up overhead. Bend the knee and drop the hips. Let's bring our hands at our heart. We're going to come from here directly into tree pose. So you're going to stand on your right leg, and the left foot can either come to the inside of your shin or up towards the inner thigh. Whichever one you've chosen, you're trying to press your left knee open so there's an external hip rotation, and you're squeezing everything in towards the midline in order to draw up and lift up. Challenging our balance a little bit more with the arms. As you inhale, reach the arms up overhead, maybe even look up. And as you exhale, draw the hands down the center line of the body. 2 more arm circles. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, squeeze it down. Last one. Inhale, lift. Exhale to lower. Hands at your heart. Lift your left knee straight up towards you. We're coming back into our warrior 3, so still balancing on your right leg. Left leg goes back. For this one, let's extend our arms back, palms facing down. Keep spinning that left thigh down so the knee and the toes point down. Take another inhale, and then fingertips drop down to the floor. Find your standing splits. So you're standing on your right leg, left leg is extending up and back, folding forward. Make your way into your downward facing dog. Hold your down dog if you'd like, or take your vinyasa. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Second side, left leg will extend up. Keep it straight and squared. Use core strength to pull that knee in towards the belly. Look past your palms, step it through. High lunge. Left knee is bent. Hips are dropping down low. Lifting up through the chest. Let's bring our hands at our heart. We're going to come from here into our tree pose. So find something to focus on. And then we're going to step up. Bring the right foot either to the inside of your shin or up towards the inner thigh, using your glutes to press your right knee open a little bit more. We'll take those same arm circles. Inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, lower the hands at the center of the chest. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, pull it down. Inhale, reach up, only looking up if that's okay. Exhale to release. From here, we're going to engage the hip flexors to lift the right knee straight up and then extend it back to your warrior 3. Right leg reaches back, chest leans forward. Keep spinning that right thigh down, and then we're going to reach our arms back, palms face down towards the floor. Try not to round through the upper back. At most, you're parallel to the ground. Reaching through the heel. Take 1 more breath. And then looking down, we're going to release our fingertips to the floor for our standing splits. Right leg reaches up. Squeeze and engage the glutes. Downward facing dog. Left knee bends. Palms flat to the floor. Step your left foot back to meet your right. And let's take our flow. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale to up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg reaches up towards the sky. Keep it straight and squared. And then let's step our right foot forward in between the palms to the top of the mat for warrior two. So back foot spins parallel to the short edge of your mat. Arms lift up. Palms face down towards the floor. Try to press your right knee open and bend your right knee a little bit more. So we'll open up the hips and the hamstrings a little bit more to prepare ourselves for that dancer's pose. From this warrior two, let's straighten the right leg. Bring your back foot in just a couple inches to narrow your stance. And then hips will go back as you slide your right hand down your right leg and reach your left arm up for triangle pose. You're trying to pull that left shoulder back so the chest stays open. Stay long through both sides of the waist. Use the strength of your obliques to come all the way back up and out of the pose. Hands will come on your hips. You'll turn your right foot parallel to the short edge of your mat. You might need to widen your stance a little. We'll come into our wide-legged fold. Inhale, lift chin and chest up. Exhale, hinge at the waist and fold forward. Fingertips can come down towards the floor. Soften the neck. Shake out the head. And try not to put too much weight into the heels. You might need to rock your weight forward just a tad. The further back you walk your palms, the deeper the stretch will be. Crown of the head should still be lifted off the floor. Let's walk the palms forward. Lift your chest up about halfway. Hands spin back to the top of the mat, finding your lunge stance. So right toes point forward, left heel comes off the ground. You're going to plant your left hand down to the ground. Reach your right arm up towards the sky for your twist. Stay here if you'd like, or transition into your side plank, rolling to the outside edge of your left foot. And you can either just stack one leg over the other, or you can take tree pose in this side plank by bringing your right foot to the inside of your left thigh and reaching your right arm up and over. Take one more breath and find your downward facing dog. Right hand down, hips reach up and back. Let's take our flow. Inhale to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale to down dog. Second side, left leg lifts up. Keep it straight and squared. And step it forward in between the palms. Warrior two. So right foot spins parallel to the short edge of your mat. Arms extend out. Palms are facing down. Drop your hips as much as you can and keep pressing that left knee open. Let's straighten the left leg. You're going to bring your back toes in just a couple inches, setting up for triangle pose. Hips will go back. You can slide your left hand down your left leg. Right arm extends up. Try not to squeeze or compress through the left side of your waist. Stay tall and lifted. Press into both feet to come all the way back up. Hands on your waist, turn your left foot in so both feet parallel to the shorter edges of your mat. As you inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward. Try not to roll too much towards the outer ankles. Keep pressing down through the big toes. 2 more breaths, folding a little bit deeper. Let's bring the palms forward, lift your chest, and you're going to walk your hands over to the top of the mat, finding that lunge with the twist. So left toes forward, right heel comes off the ground, plant the right palm to the floor, and start by just keeping your left arm up towards the sky. If you want to go into your side plank, maybe the tree pose variation, you roll to the outer edge of your right foot, and you can either just stack your left leg directly over the top of your right, or you can bring your left foot to the inside of that right thigh and extend your left arm up and over so the bicep is along the ear. Trying to lift our hips up as high as we can. Take one more inhale and look down, downward facing dog. Let's take our vinyasa. Inhale to plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. From this down dog, let's set our knees down to the ground, coming into our tabletop pose. So we'll work our back bends a little bit deeper and work at balancing here before we make our way to dancer's pose. So from here, you're going to extend your right leg up and back. Keep spinning that right hip down, and then just like we did at the beginning of class, you're going to bend into your right knee and press up to that heel. As you press into the heel, drop your belly, lift the gaze, squeeze your shoulder blades behind you. If this is enough, just hold here. If you'd like to go further and work on balance, you're going to lean onto your right hand. Left arm can start to reach back, maybe catch a hold of that right foot, and if you're holding onto it, you're going to kick that foot in towards the palm to lift up. So knee is lifting up. Keep the breath smooth and steady. Focus on your balance. Take one more breath. And let's release hand and knee to the floor, round through the upper back. And come back into your neutral tabletop pose, second side. Left leg reaches back. Keep spinning and rotating that thigh down. And then you're going to bend your left knee and kick up to the heel as you drop the belly and lift the chest. Little back bend, and we'll go deeper into it. Right hand extends back, maybe catches a hold of your left foot. If that's the case, you're pressing and kicking that foot in towards the palm to lift it up a little higher. So hopefully you're getting this stretch in the quad and also in your right shoulder. Focus on something that's not moving. See if you can get a little bit more lift. And we'll carefully set the knee and the palm down, round through the upper back. Come back to neutral, downward dog. Okay, so now we are ready to make our way into our dancer's pose. Let's extend our right leg up towards the sky, bend the right knee, and open up that hip. Straighten and square the leg. Use your core to place that foot forward in between the hands to the top of the mat. Engage your abdominals as you lift up into your high lunge. Let's bring our hands at our heart. We're going to come to stand at the top of the mat, setting ourselves up for dancer's pose. So stand on the right leg, and you're going to bend into that left knee and lift the heel up. So you do need to work your hamstrings here. See if you're able to catch a hold of that left foot using your left hand and catching a hold of it to the inside of that foot. If that doesn't work, you're going to want to loop a strap around your ankle. Once you have that, make sure your knees are staying hip width distance apart. So we're not letting that left knee go out to the side. We're squeezing and drawing in. Right arm will reach forward. Palm is parallel to the floor. Start to kick your left foot in towards your left hand and start to lift the knee, and you'll start to get that stretch into your left shoulder. So what we're not doing is dipping our chest all the way down in order to get that knee up. Keep your chest lifted and just work in the pose from here. Facing straight forward. Keep that left knee squeezing in. Take one more breath. And let's release. Bring your left knee in, scoop it all the way forward and hug it in towards the belly. Growing up tall from the right leg. We'll take a twist from here. Keep your right hand over your left shin. Extend your left arm back. So hips and knees are facing forward. Chest and shoulders are facing over towards the left side of your mat. Take another breath in the twist. And slowly come all the way back to center. Hands at your heart, chair pose. Big toes together, knees apart. Big toes together, heels apart. Bend the knees and drop the hips. Take one more breath as you lift the arms and lift the chest. And let's exhale, fold forward over the legs. Halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, plant the palms, step it back to plank pose. Inhale. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale to up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Press the chest to the thighs. Soften your neck. And let's go do the other side. Reach your left leg up and back. Bend the left knee and open up your hip nice and wide. Keep pressing your left shoulder down. Straighten and square that left leg so the knee and the toes point down. Engage the hip flexors and your core to carefully step that foot forward. Coming up into your crescent lunge, arms lift up. Bend the left knee to drop the hips. Let's bring our hands at our heart. We're going to step forward to the top of the mat. Pull your right heel in towards the glute, standing on the left leg. Choose if you're going to use a strap or if you're just going to grab a hold of your right foot to the inside of that foot. Hug your knees and inner thighs towards one another. Lift up nice and tall and reach your left arm forward. Remember, we're not dipping the chest forward. This is a different way to do dancer's pose. You want to stay lifted up for this one. Start to press your foot in towards the hand and lift the knee from there. So you'll feel it as a back bend. It'll open quite a bit into your right shoulder and into the quads. Still facing forward, try to keep pulling that right knee in. It's going to want to open up to the side. Find a little bit more lift. And carefully release. Pull your knee in towards the belly. Standing up nice and tall. Taking our twist. Left hand stays over that shin. Right arm reaches back. Keep scooping that right hip back. Come all the way forward, hands at your heart, chair pose, big toes together, heels apart, bend the knees, drop the hips. Take an inhale to lift the arms up, open the chest. Exhale, fold forward, straighten the legs. Halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, plant the palms, step it back to plank pose. Take an inhale here. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale to up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. From this down dog, let's set our knees down to the floor. We'll close with one final back bend, making our way to camel pose. Make sure your knees are aligned directly underneath your hips. Keep your toes curled under so you have a little bit more support. You can always pad your knees a little bit as well if this is bothersome. Hands at your heart. Lengthen your tailbone down, pull the lower belly in, lift out of the lower back. So maintain a lot of integrity there. As you inhale, start to lift the chest, leaning up and over. So as soon as it starts to feel like pinching in the lower back, that's how you know you've gone too far into the pose. You should be able to breathe deeply, engage the glutes. Take one more breath and use your core to lift back up. Set the hips to the heels, point the toes back, hands on your knees. Take a few breaths, close the eyes. Let's take our hero pose stretch. We're not going to go all the way for this one. Just lift yourself back up and curl the tailbone under before setting your hips back to your heels. So tailbone is scooping and reaching forward. Keep your knees hip width distance apart and just walk the palms back a little bit. Chest stays lifted until you get a nice stretch into the front of the thighs. And you can bend the elbows and squeeze your shoulder blades behind you as you lift the chest up to also get a really, really nice opening into the shoulders. Press and lift your way back up. Take an easy child's pose. Keep your knees and your big toes together. Soften forward, arms alongside the legs, forehead to the floor. Relax your neck. Let's bring our hands forward. Lift yourself back up. And we're going to swing our legs in front of us, finishing up with a seated twist. So legs go straight out in front of you. We're going to start by bending the right knee and bringing the right foot in. You're going to cross your right foot over the top of your left thigh and make sure all four corners of that right foot are firmly planted down to the floor. Right fingertips go behind you about 6 inches or so to support the lower back. As you inhale, reach your left arm up towards the sky. And on the exhale, hook your left elbow to that inner thigh crease. Pull the right shoulder back and open the chest. Try not to round or contract. You're staying tall and lifted. One more deep breath. And exhale to release. Let's switch sides. So right leg forward. Bend the left knee. Bring that foot in. And then you're going to cross your left foot over the top of your right thigh. Left fingertips go behind you. Inhale, right arm up, extend. And then exhale, hook your right elbow to that inner left thigh crease. Pull the left shoulder back and open the chest. Navel hugs into the spine. Maybe looking over that left shoulder. Planting down through the big toe side of your foot. Let's release and unwind. Reach your legs forward in front of you. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hinge at the waist and fold. Bend your knees as much as you'd like here. We're closing our practice, so we want to make this really restorative. Slowly roll all the way back up, and we're going to make our way down onto our backs. Lower all the way down, and before taking Shavasana, squeeze your knees in towards the belly. Maybe rock a little bit side to side, massaging the lower back. And then legs will straighten out. Take up some space with the arms, shrug your shoulders down and away from the ears, palms facing up. Get settled and comfortable. Smoothing out the muscles in the forehead, in the jaw, even the tongue. And the cheeks. Observe the effects that your practice has had. Maybe you feel a little bit more centered, or focused, or balanced. Just stay with those feelings. If you would like to enjoy your Savasana longer, you can stay exactly as you are. If you're ready to get up and get on with your day, breathe a little bit deeper into the belly and into the chest. And you can move the toes and the fingers, or the wrists and the ankles, letting the head drop from side to side. Let's extend and reach our arms up overhead, getting really tall and long. Bending the knees. You're going to roll to one side, lift up, and come back to take a seat. Finishing our class the exact same way that we began. Palms can rest on the knees or draw out the heart. Close the eyes for a few breaths. Let's finish our practice with one breath together. Inhale through the nose and out the mouth. Bringing the thumbs towards the third eye. Bowing at the hips. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me today, yogis. I hope you enjoyed our class together. I will see you next time on the mat.